So in this video series, we're exploring the basis or all the fundamentals of spirituality. And for the purpose of this conversation, I fragment and take things apart quite a bit because that's what I like to do. That's my approach. But in the end of the day, and this is why this video is important as a preamble, if you will. In the end of the day, we have to understand that fragmenting or labeling specific things or using ideas to describe things, using words, right? That it's just that, right? It's never the thing. And for a lot of people, that's a trap. They take more, let's say, a philosophical approach, which is using logics or syllogisms or certain way of coming to conclusions based on objective reality, right? And that has its place. It's really important, I think, philosophy, because it has everything to do with society and getting along and rules and laws and etc. But when it comes to spirituality, that's all about you and your inner world, and it's way more. There's an objective side to it because we're all the same in many ways, but at the same time, you can't accept any authority from outside of yourself because it's yourself and you're a living being. And philosophy talks about life out there, let's say, and to describe it, and logics, and the closer logics get to reality, the better, right? The more you're onto truth. But when it comes to yourself, a living being, you can never sort of wrap that up with words and ideas because you're alive. It's different every second. You're part of life, and life is never the same for one moment. So we can never approach spiritual topics or these basic spiritual principles as something that can be concluded on, if that makes sense. So it's really important to, and there's a little bit of irony in that, to start from freedom and to start from love, to start from a curiosity and openness to want to find out, and it doesn't matter at what stage of spirituality you're at, let's put it that way, because any moment, life is there. It's constantly unfolding itself, and you're there to observe it. And there's no conclusions when it comes to these kind of things because it's yourself. It's your fear, it's your anxiety that you need to get to know. It's your thoughts, right? So that's a really important preamble. So how you approach a spiritual question or a spiritual problem, if you will, is way more important than the question or the problem itself. And so when we're looking at fear, it's something that you and I, let's say both together, hand in hand, need to look at. And because I could be completely wrong, you can look for yourself and investigate, right? And feel it and be there with your thoughts. Have your full attention on a movement of thought, a movement of fear, of an anxiety, or enjoyment. When we're completely attentive there's a different light that's being shown on the problem because you're no longer coming from thought, you're no longer coming from images, you're no longer coming from past conclusions and biases, and you have that sort of freshness to any problem or any question that comes up. And so we'll go through all the different principles of life, the fear, suffering, anxiety, pursuit of pleasure, fear that comes with that, meditation, love, all these kind of topics we'll talk about. And I think it's really important first to kind of establish, that we're never condemning anything. There's no right or wrong or this is true or false, because we need to sort of together stumble upon that, and we need to all find it out for ourselves. And there's a real beauty in that, a real freedom and love in that, because you're less concerned with yourself. And if you're right or wrong, or your particular biases that you've thought about in the past, or conclusions that you've had about spirituality in the past, that's no longer irrelevant. When you come to something afresh, It's a new, like it's right there, right? You're there with your fear. That's when you can really learn, learn in the sense of you're listening. I see it myself as like a big ear, like I'm completely listening to what's in front of me, what I find. So from that place, let's move forward and explore some important topics of life. Thank you.